If you've been avoiding mirrors lately, it may not be because of wrinkles. Sometimes it is because your skin has quietly lost its moisture and dryness has started telling stories about your age before you ever open your mouth. Ignore this for too long and the face can age in the blink of an eye. Hello, and welcome to Senior Life Now. I'm Dr. Anil Mehr, a dermatologist based in New Delhi, and for more than 32 years, I have been sitting across patients, reading not just their skin, but the lives written on it. After all these years, I can often sense someone's age before they tell me their name, not because I am clever, but because skin speaks very loudly when it is tired. Today, I want to begin with the ending of a story, not the beginning. Her name is Mrs. Shanta Rao. She is 63 years old, and she lives in Mylapore, Chennai. When she visited my clinic last month, she smiled and told me something that made my day. She said, "Doctor, when I went shopping last week, the salesman called me madam and then said Akka. If you live in India, you understand exactly why that matters." 3 years ago, this same woman had walked into my clinic looking defeated. At that time, she was 60 years old, but her skin told a very different story. Fine lines covered her face like cracked summer soil, the skin around her eyes and mouth was paper thin, makeup would flake within minutes, and she avoided social events altogether. She once told me, "Doctor, people in my apartment lift call me petite grandmother. I don't even have grandchildren." She had tried expensive creams, foreign brands, herbal packs, and every recommendation that came her way. Nothing helped. I did not give her a new miracle product. Instead, I told her one simple thing: your skin is not old, it is exhausted and dry. We focused only on restoring moisture and comfort gently and patiently. Over the months, something changed. First, her face stopped feeling tight after washing. Then it stopped stinging. Slowly, her skin thickened, her expression softened, and the fear she felt before looking in the mirror disappeared. Her wrinkles did not vanish overnight, but her face no longer looked older than she felt. This is why I wanted to start with her story today, because what I am about to share is not about instant youth or expensive solutions. It is about understanding why skin ages faster after 60 and how simple, science-based care can help it feel alive again. Stay with me till the end, and you'll learn a gentle, practical method using common home ingredients to help reduce dryness and soften the look of wrinkles. It will bring you to look years younger. Before we begin, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Good things will happen to you in the year 2026. Your small click helps us reach more people who need this information. Now, let me explain something very important, something most people misunderstand. Many believe wrinkles appear simply because we are getting older. That is only partially true. Age itself does not suddenly create lines overnight. What actually changes first is something far more basic. The skin loses its ability to hold water. Human skin is not just a surface. It is a layered structure, much like a well-built house. At the top, there is a protective barrier. Below that lies a water-holding layer. And deeper still is the support system that gives skin strength and elasticity. When we are young, this structure works beautifully. The skin holds moisture tightly. Even harsh sun, wind, or a sleepless night does not leave lasting damage. But after the age of 60, this system begins to weaken, quietly, steadily. And the very first thing to fail is moisture retention. This is why many seniors tell me, "Doctor, the moment I wash my face, it feels tight," or within minutes, "my skin feels stretched." That tight feeling is not cleanliness. It is dehydration. Now here is where confusion begins. Some people say, "My skin is oily, so dryness is not my problem." Let me tell you something honestly, in mature skin, oiliness often means the opposite. When the skin loses water from within, it panics. And in that panic, it produces oil on the surface as an emergency cover, like throwing plastic sheets over a leaking roof. So the face looks shiny, but inside, it is dry and uncomfortable. This is what we call inner dryness. And inner dryness is far more damaging than visible dryness. Because when skin lacks water inside, fine lines settle in faster. Wrinkles deepen more easily. The skin becomes thinner, more sensitive, and slower to heal. Another reality we must accept: skin renewal slows with age. What used to renew itself in 1 month now takes 2 or even 3. This means damage accumulates faster than repair. In this state, frequent scrubbing, harsh soaps, strong fragrances, or aggressive treatments do not improve the skin. They exhaust it. I often hear seniors say, "Doctor, if I don't apply something, won't my wrinkles increase?" I understand that fear. But what matters is not what you apply, it is the condition of the skin when you apply it. If the skin is cracked like dry farmland, will fertilizer help? No. First, you must give water. That is why, for mature skin, the starting point is not fairness creams, not anti-wrinkle actives, not strong serums. The starting point is correct moisturizing. And moisturizing does not mean smearing oil on the surface. It means two things working together, supplying moisture and sealing it in gently. When this balance is restored, the skin relaxes. And when the skin relaxes, fine lines soften naturally. In the next part, I will explain why expensive products often fail mature skin and why simple, familiar ingredients often work better than we expect. Now, when I say moisturizing is the foundation, most people immediately ask me one question. "Doctor, then what should I apply? Should I buy that expensive cream I saw on television? Is the imported one better?" Every time I hear this, I smile a little. Because after more than 3 decades in dermatology, I can tell you this with full honesty: the price of a product does not decide how your skin will respond. In fact, the more mature the skin, the more it tends to reject complicated things. Skin, like people, changes with age. When we are young, we are curious. We try everything. The skin says, "All right, let's experiment." But after 60, the skin becomes selective. It says, "Please don't give me surprises." Strong actives that once felt exciting now cause stinging. Heavy fragrances cause redness. Multiple layers cause irritation. And instead of improving, the skin becomes thinner and drier. That is why I always tell my senior patients, skin care after 60 is not about correction. It is about protection. Wrinkled skin is not lazy skin. It is skin that has worked hard for decades. Sun exposure, pollution, heat, stress, household work, caregiving, sleepless nights. After all this, adding more anti-aging ingredients is like assigning overtime to someone already exhausted. So I follow just 3 simple principles when advising mature skin care. First, does it directly supply moisture? Second, does it seal that moisture in so it does not escape? Third, can the skin tolerate it calmly even with long-term use? If the answer to all 3 is yes, then the skin usually responds well. And interestingly, some of the most suitable ingredients are not found in luxury bottles. They are found in ordinary homes and local chemists. Ingredients the skin recognizes. Ingredients that do not shout. Ingredients that simply do their job. This is why, in Mrs. Shanta Rao's case, I did not prescribe a long list of products. I told her, "Let us first make your skin comfortable." No fancy routine. No 20 steps. No aggressive treatments. Just a very simple method that helps the skin hold water again. When moisture stays, everything else follows: thickness, softness, resilience. In the next section, I will explain one of the simplest combinations I have recommended repeatedly over the years, why it works, and why quantity matters more than variety. Please stay with me. Now let us talk about the first combination, one that surprises many people because of how ordinary it sounds, yet how consistently it works for mature skin. Over the years, I have recommended countless products, but when it comes to restoring moisture gently, I often return to 2 very simple things: extra virgin olive oil and artificial tears. When people hear this, they usually blink twice and ask, "Doctor, are you serious?" Yes, I am very serious. Olive oil, when used correctly, forms a very thin protective layer on the surface of the skin. Its role is not to feed the skin or to repair wrinkles, but simply to slow down the speed at which moisture escapes. Mature skin loses water very quickly, especially after cleansing, and without some form of cover, even good hydration disappears within minutes. But this is important: more oil does not mean better skin. In fact, too much oil suffocates mature skin and makes it feel heavy and uncomfortable. One single drop is enough. Now comes the second part, which I consider even more important: artificial tears. These drops are designed for the most sensitive tissue of the human body, the eyes. That means they are usually fragrance-free, low in irritants, and focused on one job only, which is maintaining moisture. That single purpose is exactly what aging skin needs. If olive oil acts like a lid, artificial tears act like water poured into a dry container. When used together, they recreate a basic structure the skin has lost with age: hydration inside, protection outside. When I first suggested this to Mrs. Shanta Rao, she looked at me and said, "Doctor, I have put such expensive things on my face, and now you are telling me I drops." I told her, "Your skin is not asking for luxury. It is asking for relief." She agreed to try, but without much hope. And that reaction, by the way, is completely normal. Most people expect dramatic ingredients to create dramatic results. But with mature skin, comfort always comes before change. Now let me explain the actual method, because this is where many people unknowingly make mistakes. This is not a complicated mask, and it is not something you spread thickly across your face and lie down for half an hour. In fact, if you do that, you will likely irritate your skin. What you need is very simple: extra virgin olive oil, fragrance-free artificial tears, a small clean bowl, and a cotton pad. First, cleanse your face gently with lukewarm water. Do not scrub, and do not rub your face harshly with a towel. Simply pat it dry, leaving the skin slightly damp. While the skin is still in this state, take the small bowl and add 4 to 5 drops of artificial tears. Some people laugh at this point and say, "Doctor, my face is quite big." I assure you, 4 or 5 drops are enough. Next, add just 1 drop of olive oil. Please resist the temptation to add more. Mature skin does not need generosity, it needs balance. Mix the two together gently, then soak a cotton pad in the mixture. It should feel moist, not dripping. Gently place it on your face without rubbing, more like laying it down than pressing it in. The moment you rub, you defeat the entire purpose. Leave it on for 5 to 7 minutes. There is no benefit in leaving it longer because the skin absorbs what it needs within this time. This is about the length of a short news segment on television, and that is usually how I time it myself. After removing the cotton pad, gently press the remaining moisture into your skin using your palms. Do not wash it off. If you have used the correct quantity, your skin will not feel sticky, only comfortable. This method is particularly helpful on days when the weather is dry, after strong sun or wind exposure, or when the skin feels unusually tight. You do not need to do this every day. 2 to 3 times a week is more than sufficient. Remember, the purpose of this method is not to force wrinkles away, but to return moisture to where it belongs and to help the skin hold onto it. Now let us move to nighttime care, because night is when the skin finally gets some peace. During the day, your skin is constantly defending itself against sunlight, heat, pollution, and movement of facial muscles. But at night, the skin switches into recovery mode. This is why it is acceptable to provide a slightly stronger protective layer in the evening than during the day. This is where honey comes in. Whenever I mention honey, people immediately react and say, "Doctor, won't it be sticky?" And yes, it can be if used incorrectly. That is why quantity is everything. Honey has been used for centuries on wounds and rough skin because it helps retain moisture and calm irritation. For mature skin, its role is not nourishment but protection during the long hours of sleep when moisture is easily lost. The correct way to use it is very simple. Take 1 single drop of olive oil on your palm. I repeat, 1 drop. Then add a tiny amount of honey, about half the size of a grain of rice. Many people doubt this amount, but this is exactly where most mistakes happen. Using more does not improve results, it creates discomfort. Mix the oil and honey well using the warmth of your palms until the honey dissolves. Then apply it only to areas that crease frequently, such as around the eyes, the corners of the mouth, the lines beside the nose, and the neck. Do not apply it all over your face. Mature skin responds far better to targeted care than full coverage. Gently press it into the skin. Do not massage. Massaging at this stage can irritate already thin skin. You can go to bed immediately after, or if you are concerned about your pillow, wait 10 minutes and press once more with your palms. By morning, most people notice the same thing first. Water no longer stings when they wash their face. The skin feels less fragile, less paper thin. Wrinkles do not disappear overnight, and I would never claim that. But when dryness reduces, wrinkles stop deepening so quickly, and the face begins to feel alive again. This night method also does not need to be done daily. 2 to 3 times a week is enough. Skin prefers steady care, not constant attention. At this point, some of you may be thinking, "Doctor, this sounds fine for normal skin, but mine is sensitive, or my skin is still oily, so this will not suit me." These are valid concerns, and this is exactly where adjustment becomes important. Skin care is not a fixed formula, especially after 60. Let us begin with sensitive skin. Sensitive skin is often misunderstood as weak skin, but in reality, it is skin that has become over-alert after years of dryness and irritation. It reacts quickly because it has been pushed too hard for too long. If this sounds like your skin, the key is to start slowly. Do not apply the olive oil and artificial tears method to your entire face at once. Begin with a small area, such as one cheek or the area near the eyes, and reduce the time to 3 minutes instead of 5. You can also use less than 1 drop of olive oil. If there is no stinging or redness, you may gradually increase the area over time. The honey method should be introduced only after the skin has become comfortable with the first combination. Now let us talk about oily skin. This is where many people panic and say, "Doctor, my face already shines like a mirror." In most mature patients, this shine is not a sign of healthy oil production but of dehydration underneath. When the skin lacks water, it produces oil to protect itself. In such cases, avoiding oil completely only worsens the problem. The correct approach is to increase hydration and use oil very sparingly. For oily skin, it is often better to use the artificial tears first and press a tiny dot of olive oil only on wrinkle-prone areas such as around the eyes and mouth, rather than the entire face. Honey should be used very occasionally and only when the skin feels tight. For dry skin, these methods are generally well tolerated, but even then, excess is harmful. Using these techniques every day or in large amounts can cause flaking instead of comfort. 2 to 3 times a week remains ideal. Finally, remember this: skin type is not permanent. It changes with weather, health, medications, and stress. The best guide is not a label, but how your skin feels today. If it feels calm and comfortable, you are doing it right. Now we come to a question that quietly worries many people, even if they do not ask it out loud, and that is, "Doctor, how do I choose the right one?" This part is far more important than people realize, because even the simplest method can fail if the wrong product is chosen. Let us start with olive oil. It must be extra virgin. This is not a marketing word, it simply means the oil has not been chemically refined and contains fewer unnecessary irritants. Oils with very strong smells, added herbs, lemon, or flavoring agents should never go on the face. Your skin is not food, even though the oil is. In fact, olive oil that is safe enough to eat is often safer for the skin than products made to sound cosmetic. Next, artificial tears. This is the most crucial selection of all. They must be fragrance-free and designed purely to provide moisture. Products that advertise cooling effects, redness reduction, or refreshing sensation should be avoided because these extra functions often mean extra ingredients that can irritate facial skin. Artificial tears meant for frequent daily use, or single-use vials, are usually the safest choice. And more is not better here either. The goal is hydration, not soaking. Finally, Honey. The honey you use should be ordinary edible honey from your kitchen, without added fragrance or processing. Acacia honey is easy to work with because it is lighter, but the type matters far less than the quantity. This is where people most often make mistakes. Honey must be used in extremely small amounts. If it feels sticky after application, you have already used too much. Stickiness can block pores and cause irritation, especially in mature skin. One more rule applies to all 3 ingredients. Whenever you try something new, always test it first on a small area, such as behind the ear or on the inner arm, and wait a full day. If there is burning, redness, or itching, do not push through it. Skin does not improve through endurance. Discomfort is a warning, not a phase. Let me summarize everything we have discussed today in the simplest way possible. The main reason faces begin to look suddenly older after 60 is not age alone, but dryness. When the skin loses its ability to hold moisture, fine lines appear faster, wrinkles deepen more easily, and the face begins to look tired even at rest. Before trying to correct wrinkles or pigmentation, the foundation must be restored. That foundation is hydration and gentle sealing of moisture. Olive oil helps slow moisture loss, artificial tears deliver hydration directly, and honey provides calm overnight protection when used in very small amounts. None of these need to be used daily, and none should ever be used excessively. 2 to 3 times a week is enough. When the skin feels comfortable, it begins to look more alive, expressions soften, and the pace of aging slows. This is not a promise of instant youth, and it is not about perfection. It is about dignity, comfort, and recognizing that skin, like people, deserves kindness after years of hard work. If after listening today you feel like trying this just once this week, say it out loud to yourself. That small decision often matters more than buying another product. And if you know someone who avoids mirrors or feels discouraged by their skin, quietly share this with them. Sometimes, simple understanding helps more than expensive solutions. This is Senior Life Now. I will return with another story, so that as the years move forward, you can live without lowering your eyes because of your skin. Thank you for watching.